Hey everyone, today we're in North Platte, Nebraska, and we're here to take a tour of this home and other pieces on the property. This is the home of an Old West figure, a famous Old West figure, more specifically of Old West shows. This is the home of Buffalo Bill. So let's go inside and have a look. William Frederick Cody, 1846 to 1917, was known to the world as Buffalo Bill Cody. He was the most noted Nebraskan of his day. The many national and European tours of his various Wild West exhibitions made him a living symbol of the American West. Cody came to Nebraska in 1869 as a guide and scout for the 5th Cavalry near Fort McPherson. He also served as a guide for the wealthy and the famous on buffalo hunts. Buffalo Bill Cody first went on stage in 1872 and formed his first Wild West show in 1883. This sideboard liquor cabinet was purchased by Bill and given to his wife Louisa as a wedding gift. It was auctioned by the family in 1913. All of the clocks that you will see in the house are set to 12:05 p.m., which is the exact time of death of Buffalo Bill Cody on January 10th, 1917. The original two-story house on the property was built in 1886 at the cost of $3,900. Cody chose to name his place the Scouts Rest Ranch, and it was used as a place to relax between show tours. It was also a place where different showmen could rehearse their routines. He would hire new showmen and purchase new livestock. Buffalo Bill had the Scouts Ranch lettering painted on the rooftop of the barn so it could be read from the Union Pacific tracks a mile away. The ranch was also a place where he conducted much of his business. He hired different showmen there, and they practiced their routines on the ranch. He also purchased high-quality livestock such as cattle and thoroughbred horses. Through his ranching and farming on the ranch, he became a pioneer in the development of irrigation in both Nebraska and Wyoming. Cody's ranch was a powerful piece of publicity and propaganda which illustrated how Cody carried out his role as a frontiersman in and out of the arena. He enjoyed entertaining his famous contemporaries as well as old friends from his frontier days. The ranch wasn't just known for livestock, it also had corn, alfalfa, broom corn, and a small oat field. It operated with about 80 horses and 30 men, rising to 60 men during busy seasons. Despite many profitable years, operating costs were at an all-time high, and he sold his 4,000-acre ranch in 1911 for $100,000. In 1964, the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission purchased the home in order to make it into a state historic park. It has been open to the public ever since. Buffalo Bill Cody was named to the Nebraska Hall of Fame in 1967. The 25-acre park is now a living history park and was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1978. It was designated a National Historic Landmark in 2021. The house and the outbuildings can all be toured, and it is open from April to October. The house is filled with items of the time period, but there are also many artifacts from Cody and his family. In addition to those items, there are also many artifacts from performers in his Wild West show throughout the home and the barn. It's a pretty unique looking house, both the colors and the architecture of it. It's pretty out here as well. That barn over there and some different trees, and a lot of them he imported here or brought in from other areas of Nebraska. And this is a spring house, it says. Now, it's not very tall in here. I am about 6 foot tall, maybe a little more with shoes. And my head is about hitting the ceiling. Definitely had to duck to come in that doorway of the spring house. But it is pretty neat that you can go in these different structures here. See what this is? This says it's the cob house. Building was used for the storage of corn cobs and coal, which were used as fuel sources in the stoves of the mansion. The cob house was also used as a laundry and bathhouse, as well as the general storage building. So, pretty neat. Shuck some corn in that. I don't know what it's called, but I've seen those before. Put your corn in there and turn that handle. You have various things out in here. Pretty neat. I'm sure some of this has been replaced, but it still has that rustic feel like as it would have been when he was here. But it's in really good shape. They've taken really good care of this. Really is quite the house. Absolutely beautiful and very striking because it's so different. So let's see what this little structure is. The ice house. So it says the building was used for storage of ice cut from the lake during the winter. The ice was packed in straw to keep it from thawing, and the ice would last throughout the summer and fall months. Food such as meat was kept in this building. Very interesting. That's not something that you would have where I am from in Oklahoma. We don't get ice like that, so it's a different kind of concept that I'm not used to thinking about. But that's interesting. Quite a storage house. Has kind of a smell to it, but it's more of a sweet smell, like maybe they sugar cured hams or something. I don't know, but it does kind of have a sweet smell in here for some reason. It's the only building that smelled like this. So Sarah and the girls are way up ahead heading over to that barn, but there really is a lot to look at. As you can see here, there's little pieces of cotton everywhere, like this right here. This is from a cottonwood tree. And the ladies inside of the house there mentioned that Bill had this property and there were no pieces of trees here or no remnants of trees, no trees planted at all. So what he decided to do is bring in some cottonwood trees. And I was also told that that is the state tree of Nebraska, so I didn't know that either. So he's responsible for these trees that are here on the property, specifically the cottonwood trees that are still growing and still living long after he's gone. Thought we'd walk over and see these cows over here. These are Hereford cows. And I don't know if it's part of the ranch property or not, but there is a house over there, some different ranch materials. Just found it fitting to film these. Hey there, you guys aren't too skittish, are you? What are y'all doing? Just hanging out? Does anyone ever talk to you guys? You guys are having a mud spa bath session back there? And you're rubbing your head on the tree, aren't you? Cooling off out there? Trying to figure out what this weird guy's doing talking to you? One's digging in the dirt over there. Having fun. We'll see you guys later. Bye now. It really is a beautiful piece of property. Nice and mowed and green. Up over there is a rodeo arena. And it's pretty neat looking. It's got all kinds of sponsors on it. It's got stadium seating on one side. Bleachers, whatever you want to call them. But it really and truly is quite a piece of property here. Looks like maybe some caretakers back there live back there. Kind of oversee, take care of, and look after the property. We're going to go over this way and check out this huge barn. It's quite a ranch that he had here though. And to think about some of these trees that he had planted, I mean, that is a huge, huge tree. It's kind of hard for me to gauge how high that would be, but I'm gonna guess 200 feet or more. We don't have trees that tall in Oklahoma, so I am not used to stuff like that. Ours are kind of short and fat, but this is tall and fat. I mean, there's no way I could even dream of putting my arm around this tree, but look at this. You can see the size of that right there. It is just massive. It's big. And this barn is big over here too. Look at the size of that. Absolutely huge. It's nice though. And these look like they were put here by Bill, but I think they were built to kind of match the barn and the rest of the buildings on the property, but they're actually restrooms out here on the grounds. There is an older building over there. We'll walk back there and check that out. So this sign says it's the duck pond, nature's provider to the Codys. In the 1890s, Scout Creek and Duck Pond played an important role in the Codys' lives. And this pond was adjoined to the Scout Creek by the Codys, and they used the cool water and got different things from it. It looks like muskrat, wood duck, and bullfrog were in here. And they used the pond for activities such as hunting, fishing, swimming, and it also delivered an endless supply of fresh water for the livestock. Today, the creek and pond support a variety of wildlife, including ducks, heron, geese, muskrats, beavers, raccoons, frogs, turtles, and many types of fish. And you can see here it says horses were used to plow snow to cut ice from the duck pond, similar to this image taken in Omaha Lake in 1908. So it's just kind of interesting that it provided a little sense of food, water, and some refrigeration to the family here. All this little pond right here. Really pretty. Look at the reflection of the house on the pond. Pretty neat. Like I said, it is a beautiful piece of property here. And that barn is huge. Very eye-striking. You can see here there's a light. So that light would just shine up on these little bushes and these trees back behind there. And maybe they light up this barn at night, I'm not sure. We're gonna go in this barn. They said we could go in the barn here. And this is an information deal about different activities in the area. So, nothing dealing with the history of it. Have a cutout over here of Annie Oakley. You could get your picture taken there. And then let's see what this sign says on this barn. 1887 horse barn. The barn built in 1887 is 148 feet long, 70 foot wide, 40 feet high, and it required 7 railroad cars of lumber for construction. The original rafter ends under the eaves were shaped as gun stocks, Annie Oakley's trademark. The Ace of Hearts with the bullet hole in the middle is at the peak of the roof. This was a horse barn that housed the stock needed for working the ranch. There was another barn located east of this barn that was used for cattle. The T barn, as it was called, burned down in 1904. So we are lucky that this one remains. Pretty neat to see this still standing here. We'll walk inside. You can kind of see this little creek running through here, and then you can see a bridge going across there. It says office, no smoking, all around corrals. Let's see here. Bunch of different corrals and saddles. Pretty incredible to think about all the animals in here. It's quite a bit. Harnesses and bits. You can see there is an upstairs part, but it is locked off there. Got some barbed wire here, some different kinds, and they've got it all labeled with the patent dates if they know it and what the name of each one is. 21 different types of barbed wire were found on this ranch in 1964 during the period of restoration of the buildings. They were the basis of this collection. The wires shown here are but a small part of the 622 known varieties. So, definitely not going to read all those to you, but there's a bunch of different varieties of barbed wire. Some of them, of course, are better than others and still used today. A lot of different farm pieces of equipment, stuff used here on the ranch. I have no idea what a lot of it is. Of course, I know what shovels and sharpening stones are, vices. There's a lot here that I don't know, besides the traps. Pretty neat. Look at that. I don't even know what that is. It's interesting though. Whatever it is. Cranks there. Over the course of a 5-month, 2,000-mile trek from Independence, Missouri to California or Oregon was a tedious and necessity, being the mother of the invention of the odometer. This is the Arrowhead Collage and a depiction of him himself. Look at these old posters right here. They are huge posters. That one right there must be like 9-10 foot tall. You can see here on the top of this, there's some more posters that were here at one time. Going along the top. And they kind of eroded away. Big old barn doors right here. Where they could pull different carriages and wagons and stuff right out of here. You can get a sense of how long this barn is. There's some other doors on the other side. Some more carriages down that way. A little bit of everything in here. Some old furs. Some yokes and washboards. Different kitchen materials and goods. cash register, some old bottles of medicine, I think, some planes to kind of do woodworking, and some saws. There's an elk right there, a couple elk. Whole bunch of saddles here though. I mean a bunch. This barn was built in 1887 and used it primarily as a horse barn. The 4-barreled box stalls are the type which once extended the entire length of the driveway. These stalls were sturdy construction to confine the stallions kept here. You can see here, here's a photo of one of the Western shows. And not only is Bill Cody there, but this is a combination of Pawnee Bill, who you can see right there. So that's both of their shows together. Pretty interesting. That picture's from 1909. So you can see an old photograph of the interior of the stalls. Really like these old posters up there. It's interesting, these fragments of show bills and posters are all that remain of bills glued to the walls by Cody. Check out those hoofs right there. Some bison right there. You can see some that were probably on the ranch. A little bit of everything. Some artwork on that bone right there. Different things constructed from the bones. Some jewelry, looks like some rings and beads and buttons. Pretty interesting. And they do have some pieces here you could probably touch, but I'm not going to. Jawbone, rib bone, shoulder blade, hoofs. There's a lot to look at in here though. All sorts of photos. You can see this kind of bridge right here passing over the creek that's out there and the Duck Lake. Tame deer at the Scouts Rest Ranch. So there's a little bit of everything, including old photographs of the Scouts Rest Ranch house. Little depiction of Buffalo Bill's den. You can see him in the back there entertaining some guests. Pretty neat little diorama. Love these old buggies right here. Quite a few things out here to look at. See some more posters right here. And old wagon right here. And nice piece of stained glass here. I don't know what that's from exactly. There is a placard right here that might tell. This is the Cody Family Memorial Window. Interesting. The Episcopal Church of Our Savior had been part of the North Platte since its incorporation in 1873. So kind of part of the family here. It says that one of the Cody family members was the organist at the Church of Our Savior in 1885, and she was elected secretary on June 3rd, 1891. And that piece of history is right here from that church. That's pretty interesting. Love stained glass. See what else is down this way. Like I said, there is a lot of stuff to look at. Photographs, you could spend hours in here looking at all the different photographs, reading the little placards. We even have things here in the cases. It's like different souvenirs and books. Pretty neat. Old cash register back there. More photographs. There's definitely a lot of photos in here. You can see different people that were a part of his shows. And of course, more wagons and carriages. Pretty neat. And they do have that upper part locked away. But you can see how high that goes up there. See here it says native buffalo to the left. So we're going to go outside and check it out. See what we can see. See one of the photographs that I showed you, could see that bridge there where it says Scouts Rest Ranch. Then over there in the distance to the right, you can see the Rodeo Arena. It's not a tiny arena by any means. We can zoom in there a little bit. I mean, it's good size. Really good size. That's that bridge I was telling you about. See an old windmill there. It's pretty elaborate compared to a lot of windmills I've seen, and there's a dove sitting on top. Gonna go back here and check out the buffalo. So this is the buffalo display, and it says, "Do not tease us." Buffalo Bill and the bison. There are several in here. Looks like two larger ones, what, a medium-sized one and a baby one. They said, how old did they say this baby one was?
I think like 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Yeah, it's a daddy and mama.
Daddy, mama, and the baby.
The other one's a little older.
Yeah, I'm not sure how old the other one is. This one little one is really tiny though. But you can tell a difference in that male and female, can't you? I mean, he's got a heck of a neck on him. He is huge. Big. That baby's cute though, isn't it?
I don't think I've ever been this close to one.
Well, they have one at the zoo. There's one at the zoo you could pet almost.
When we drove through, like down south, when we drove through that, and they can kind of come to the car. Or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, he is huge.
He's so big.
Huge, huge.
Ooh, little baby.
Yeah, it's a cute little baby. See if we can zoom in here a little bit. Definitely cute. Comes Junior. Pretty cool. Whole family right there. Dad's pretty much saying, leave me alone. Know the feeling, buddy. This really is a massive barn. You can see where it says Scouts Rest Ranch, and then on the center part up there it says W.F. Cody, Colonel. But you can tour the whole bottom part, and it's massive. A lot of stuff to see in there, different artifacts and photos, and little placards explaining who they are, but you cannot go in the upper part. They do have that part locked. But it is a beautiful barn, inside and out. Very neat, and this is well worth the admission price to tour the house and this barn and the other little buildings on the property. So this little contraption is pretty interesting. Says it's a grist mill. This is a horse-powered grain grinder, and how it had a power takeoff shaft that extended to the barn to power the grain elevator. And it was made by the L.B. McCarger Feed and Mill Company of St. Joseph, Missouri, and it was called the Famous Lighting. Pretty interesting. Those are those barn doors, and I mean, they are huge barn doors. You can see up here in this loft how you could put some hay up there. Different grain and stuff like that. Another little barn door there. Still good size, but much smaller than that one right there. So the other interesting thing about these trees is they are planted all in a perfect row. Right in through here. It's almost like it was a ceremonial ground of some sort. Maybe kind of to parade through or something. I don't know. But they're in perfect rows. So back behind the barn is this little structure. And it says it's the Cody North Cabin. Little bitty cabin, but what's interesting is look at the grass growing on top of the house there. The little cabin. It's pretty interesting. It's not every day you see something growing on top of a structure. But you can see the axe strikes from when they built this structure. It says in the 1860s, William Cody along with Frank and Luther North had a small ranch near Dismal River about 60 miles north of this location. Although they did not own the property, they were allowed by the government to ranch the land. They had roughly 130 head of cattle on a small ranch. And this cabin served as the ranch's headquarters. In 1882, Cody and the North brothers gave up the ranch, and the cabin was moved around Nebraska several times before Miss Mary Tragus, if I'm saying that name correctly, the owner of the cabin, donated it to the state of Nebraska. It was reassembled, restored, and then relocated here as a reminder of Bill's ranching days. Can you see in that window?
A little bit.
It's a little hazy there, I guess.
Probably not anything in there.
No. Pretty interesting cabin, though. So it's kind of tucked away behind the barn. It's not real big by any means. Someone my height would definitely have to duck their head in that doorway. But you see where the location of this little cabin is, back behind this barn and the house. So don't forget about coming back here and having a peek at this cabin. So thanks for watching and joining me on this little tour of Buffalo Bill's home. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys next time.